Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hello, and welcome back to the Life Live. I say we love you, we love you, we love you. And make sure you subscribe. But we love you, we love you. So thank you again for joining us on this great Easter, after Easter Monday. I don't think I said that right, but let's just go with it. So, this Monday evening, and I hope everyone had a great Easter celebration. I didn't do too much. Thanks for asking. But I'm sure everyone had fun times with family, friends, and that whole thing. And also remember the whole purpose of Easter is to just embrace the resurrection of Jesus and, and being grateful in that because we would not be here without him. Okay, so sacrifice is very important as we establish that. So, again, thank you again for joining us. So, let's get the show started. We have two wonderful guests, as always. We're going to talk about education, the importance of it, and all of what it entails. And things are changing so much across the world, in all honesty. When it comes to education. So we're going to dig deep into that with two wonderful guests who actually are teachers. And they're going to give us some insight on that. So let me get to my host. I'm not going to say hostess with the mostest because tired of getting yelled at for that. But I'm going to introduce my host, who is so important, Mr. Gerald C. Anderson. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, you got two weeks to practice, man.
I can tell you. I mean, but it's been so many things going on. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
but you are the best. You are the best co-host
so
ever.
are
So,
you. Thank
you
you.
know.
Appreciate it.
So yes. So I hope you enjoyed your Easter. You and your wonderful wife. I know you all went to church and everything. So how was your celebration? Did you go out to dinner or anything afterwards?
No, we ate at home. She made dinner for us. She's
Oh,
amazing.
that's
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So
You
yeah.
didn't
So
you didn't see
sometimes it's
the
good.
you didn't see the thing under my name.
What? You said 2, 3 days. Wait, let me see. Let me bring it open. Oh,
Yeah.
3 days to 1 year. To 1 year of what? Would you like to share that with the world?
You don't know?
What? As long as we've been doing this show?
No.
What? Don't say
Yeah,
your wedding because it seemed like it's been
yeah.
10.
It's 1 year. Be 1 year come
No,
through.
it's been 10 years. It has to be longer than that. It feels
No.
like it's been longer.
The one all with 3 days show, so it's been 362 days.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, it's time, but it just shows the uniqueness and what was supposed to be is existing now,
Yeah.
because it feels like it's been longer than a year.
All
I'll
right.
just say that. So congratulations,
Thank you.
happy pre-anniversary.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, oh, also, everyone, please join in and ask questions, to our guests. Comment if you desire to comment, but please join in on a conversation because, again, this is a very important conversation that I don't think we have enough of this. But maybe we can do this on a regular basis because I think education is so important, and it's just I mean it's up there with oxygen. I'll just put it like that.
Absolutely.
So go ahead, Jerry. You had something you want to say?
I just said absolutely. I'm
That's
agreeing
all
with you. I know that's very seldom that happens.
finally.
But on this occasion and that comment, I guess I'm agreeing with you on that.
Well, I thank you for that. So we have quite a few people joining us already. So we definitely appreciate that. We have, is it Faith Min, Janaya Jones, Deandra, Alexander, Ari. I think I know Ari. I don't know. Kendra. What is that? Biles. Kendra Biles and Rashonda, Jasmine, Destiny, Tara, and Brittany. Hopefully, I said everybody's name right. Thank you so much for joining
That's
us.
that long conversation about names.
No, I love it. Thank you so much. But yes, this is definitely an important uh, show here. So we're going to go ahead and go to a commercial and then just introduce our guests because we know that our wonderful Buff Patterson, she's actually sick today. So we usually have the positive meteor moment with our wonderful Buff Patterson. But we wish her well and we, wish her a speedy recovery. So she's not feeling too good. But we love you, Buff.
It will,
So,
but
yeah, so get well. So yeah, so let's go to a quick break so we can keep paying our bills. Um, and then we'll go ahead and introduce our first guest. All right. That's Joe.
Well, that's actually not going to be the next one to come out though. But we got a
Okay.
whole big
All right.
shebang next month. But
Ooh, are we excited? Are we excited?
we always been doing the domestic violence awareness thing. So
Absolutely.
on May
Absolutely.
17th will be the final book in the series. It's called Let It Rain. So we'll be
Good, good. Make sure you have to bring the book tour to Tampa. I mean, to Florida, so we
always
can kind of, spread the joy out this way as well.
always.
Yeah. All right. So you want to go ahead and introduce our first delicious guest?
So it's always an honor to have someone that I went to high school with on the show. And if memory serves me, which I'm kind of up there, this should be
Mm,
this should be the
I'm
second
glad
person.
you said it and I didn't.
So Delicia and I went to school together in Tampa, Florida, and we both went on different paths. Of course, after high school, I went in the military. She became a teacher, and she's currently teaching right now, doing distance education. And I believe a lot of these people who are joining us today are her students, or at least a good number of them
Ah,
are her students. And so
hey,
we're honored to have her students here too. So if you're a student of Delicia Stewart-Muhammad, make sure you comment and say, yes, I'm a student. Let's see
that
that
is
ring
so awesome. Love that. Love it.
up. So let's bring on Delicia on the stage and let's have a conversation.
Hello, sunshine.
How you doing?
Good evening. I am so happy to be here.
All right.
We are happy to have you. Absolutely.
There's
Oh,
one.
Tara says she's your student. Hi. We
Yeah.
have quite a few of your students here, Miss Muhammad.
Yes, and I am happy because I need somebody to get a screenshot so I can give them credit for being here.
Well, I told her to say yes, I'm a student. So we got a couple.
Yes,
Yes,
good.
Jasmine,
Thank
she
you.
followed the
And
Thank
I
you
didn't
all
instructions.
for
really.
your support. I appreciate it.
That is so
All
awesome. I love that. I love that.
right. So tell us how you doing. What's going on?
I am doing well. It is the end of the semester. All of my finals for graduating seniors are due this week. So I'll spend my weekend grading those. And I'm excited because in two of my classes, they're doing for the final a virtual career fair that the students are putting on themselves.
Oh,
So I'm
nice.
excited about that.
Okay.
Okay,
And
okay. I
you in
like
high school? We lost
They're
you.
doing, I'm teaching two classes called, it's the two sections of a class called senior seminar. So it's like to prepare them to go out into the workforce or change careers. So their assignment is to actually research 2 to 3 companies they'd like to work for, and they have to pretend to be the person representing the company, and we're going to do a virtual career fair. So I'm
that.
excited. This is the first time we've done this, so it's going to be interactive, and I'm looking forward to it. That's One is Tuesday and one is Thursday night.
Okay.
Absolutely love that. Love
Okay.
that.
So you was
So,
gracing the halls of King High School. Did you plan to be a teacher?
I did not. I did not. When I went to undergraduate school, my major was mass communications and public relations. And if I'm totally transparent, I chose that because it had the least amount of mathematics.
and you're honest. I love it.
That, yeah, and so, but then I realized to work in PR, people never left. So I realized that was going
Hmm.
to be difficult. I always liked children, and I started working. I love to share this story because people meet you where you are. They don't know where you've been.
Ah,
I
that's true.
started working in the field as a teacher assistant with a 4-year degree, making $5.26 an hour at a Head
Mm.
Start program in Gainesville, Florida.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
And I was really surprised that they didn't hire me for a teacher because I thought all children needed to know was colors, shapes, and numbers. And I
Mm.
realized I would have been well intended and greatly misguided without a foundation of early childhood. And so I worked for that year. Then I became a teacher. But I try to tell people it's not where you start, it's where you end up.
Amen
And
to
in a
that one.
time where people do not see the understanding of a foundation, everybody wants six figures. Everybody wants to be a content
Yes.
creator.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to build your life brick by brick. And I just had my front porch rebuilt. And it was
Absolutely.
an old school brick mason. And I watched that man who was in his 60s. He took the porch down with a shovel and some stuff, and he put it back brick by brick. And I thought about that's how you build a life. That's how you build a career, brick by brick.
Exactly.
Amen. So on that note, how tell me how important is education today? Like, because it's different from when we were in school,
I,
So
I'm gonna
how important? Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna speak specifically to early childhood. Early childhood is really important because if you believe that parents are a child's first teacher, no matter whether that's a good example or not so good example,
Hmm.
parents are a child's first teacher. So understanding the brain synopsis and how to children can emotionally develop when they're young is important. And so when you think of early education, it's not lecture, it's active, it's engagement,
Hmm.
it's providing activities. Even though they look like play, there's a method, there's a learning component to every center that the children have to go to. So I think that in a world where we have so many distractions, so many devices, we have to be really intentional on how we introduce children to these devices and how we help children understand that learning is a process that happens crayon by crayon, paintbrush by paintbrush. Everything does not blink our eyes and it's just there. So
Yes.
it's really important because as a college professor, when you think about COVID and the impact it had, I saw a huge difference in the students who were at home for those few years versus before when they actually were able to continue going through school. So the anxiety is up with
Hmm.
students in education, and that's across the board. And I also think that, and I say this respectfully, there is a lack of resilience in today's youth because we don't want to let anybody go through something difficult.
So tell me this real quick. What's the age bracket of your students?
So my students range from right out of high school and college
Mhm.
to students going back to school. So even
Okay.
though I work in child development and family relations, we have a program at our school called Behavioral and Social Sciences, and many of those students went to school, left, started a career, and they're back in school. So that's a difference because they may be more serious at this point in their journey than they were
Hmm.
when they might have been 18, like, right out of school. So I think that so I have students that are older than I am, and I'll be 62 next month. And
Well,
then
you
I
look
have,
good for 62. You look good.
well, thank you.
Yes, you
But so I
definitely
have,
do.
oh, Gerald, I shouldn't be telling your business.
Yeah, we know he older. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And you know what's fascinating is that I believe personally that we can learn from any person, no matter
Mhm.
their age and in every situation. So even when I was in the classroom with little ones, I tried to learn from them. I wanted them to learn from me. I hope that I'm doing the same thing with my students as well. Really meeting them where they are and trying to help them move from step one to step two.
So, with today's education system, and it's so tech savvy, like they literally do not have to, as we did research, pick up a book, have the tangibility of going to a library. Like they don't have to do that these days. So, with the technology and the educational system, how do you work around that to make them have more of a drive in them to continue learning and not want to
Well,
be what do you call it, what do you call the social media people? I forgot
well,
already.
one of the things that I try to do is give engaging projects. I don't give tests. I do everything as a project because I don't need Chat GTP doing the work and
Ah,
turning it in.
good.
Chat GTP cannot go with you to observe in a child care center. Chat GPT cannot do those things for you. It
Hmm.
should be a resource, but it should not take the place of it. So what I try to do, I'll give an example. Well, the example I gave you of the virtual career fair, but even in one of my classes, it's dealing with exceptional and diverse learners. They're having to do a case study on a student who either has a documented disability or has been referred. And they have
Hmm.
to observe that student for 3 hours, either at school, at home, in the community. And then they have to write up a detailed case study about the student and what they learned. And so I try to give them real examples of what it's like to work in this field because I
Hmm.
personally don't think people should experiment with other people's children until they figure their life out.
Yeah,
You
and
know
it's
how whenever you find somebody that don't know what they're doing, what they want to do, they say, "Oh, I'll just go teach."
yeah,
That burns
yeah,
me
that's
up.
true. Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
Have y'all heard that before?
yeah.
yeah, I heard that years ago.
I don't have a job, so I guess I'll just go teach.
Mm.
Hmm. And teaching is up there with doctors and lawyers. You need us.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
cannot function without life without a teacher. So
definitely need good teachers. So
yes, I told you we up there with oxygen. Most people don't know that. You can't breathe without a teacher. So, but and this, well, Gerald, go ahead. I don't want to keep asking questions because this is just so intriguing to me. But go ahead, Gerald.
so in teaching, how long? First, let me ask you this question: how long have you been teaching?
I started teaching in Head Start back in 19, ooh, it was in the 80s. I had about
Mhm.
25 years of experience in early childhood, meaning pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, Head Start. And then I shifted. I've been at the university where I work since 2002. I started as an adjunct and I became full time in 2000, I think 2009.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I was teaching virtually before COVID, which people find interesting. Beryl asked me, why did I get into teaching? And I'm going to be really transparent, Beryl. Sometimes when you're young, I was a person, I could do a lot of things well, and I had a hard time figuring out what was the one thing that I wanted to do. And I actually was at church one night, because see, y'all met me today, I'm Muslim, but I wasn't always Muslim. And I went up for prayer, and the man prophesied to me that I was going to be a teacher.
Oh.
And I said, oh, good, I don't have to make that decision now. Now, I was young, and I
Mhm.
enjoyed it. And so, because I said, I don't know what I need to do. And he said, you know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be teaching. And I hadn't thought about that. That was not my major. I
Mhm.
wasn't thinking about the money as much. I was looking at the career long term. And I will say, I was a great classroom teacher with pre-K, kindergarten, Head Start. But what made me leave was one year we had two teachers. Between the two of them, they had 90 years of experience. I said, oh
Mhm.
no, I'm not going to get stuck here. Let me find something else to do. And so that's when I moved to Head Start as a program. And I was an education coordinator for Head Start in several different places. And so I do think you have to love young children,
Mhm.
especially because they're active. But you also have to understand how to bring the parental piece in. And Head Start is holistic. So they're dealing with health, social services. So it's a holistic program, not just the education piece of it. And I think that's what we're missing in education. People have so many issues. You cannot expect a teacher who has only been trained in a narrow scope, which is the classroom, to have to deal with social issues, trauma
Mhm.
issues,
Everything. Yes.
employment issues. So when you have a holistic approach to the whole child and the family, which I really love putting child development with family relations, because children come from families. And they may have a great experience with you for a year or two, but they're always going to be a part of that family. So if you make a difference with the family, you can make a difference in the life of the child.
Amen. That's the truth. That is so true.
So, and
And oh, go ahead.
what three things do you think are important for a teacher to have?
Patience is one.
Hey,
Sorry, he wasn't asking me the question.
I was going to say, first of all, I'm going to say passion. Passion, I think they need to be intentional, and
Hmm.
you have to have patience. If and you have to, I really believe you have to be called to teach. If you don't
Do.
have it in your heart, I really think you should leave it alone. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I used to look
I
at people in
agree.
the
Yeah.
classroom when I was a supervisor, and I would figure out how could I help this person find their true path. Like when you have a person who loves art, but they're
Mhm.
doing all the artwork and the children don't get to do any. I help that person find a job putting up the displays at one of the local department stores because she loved art. She didn't love the children so much.
Mhm.
And so I think that that's important. And so when Duran says what made me go from Head Start to collegiate level, I realized when I was in Head Start or kindergarten, I was making an impact on 20 children per year. But if I was a teacher and I was teaching students who were going to teach, my impact could be so much greater. So that was why.
Okay. And then,
What was the
Absolutely. I
toughest
love
thing
how
to
all the
navigate?
students have questions. I love this.
Right. What was the toughest thing to navigate there? Tara, what do you mean there? In Head Start?
We'll wait for Tara to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Gerald, you had anything
yeah,
else
that
you
was
wanted?
it.
So one of the things that I think I heard you mentioning throughout is, of course, how the impact that you have on your students, and 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 I don't know how many of us notice, but it's like education nowadays is at a historical low when it
Yeah.
comes to reading and math. And that's disturbing to me. I don't have young children in school or anything, but I have grandchildren. So that's something that's very disturbing to me. It's like eighth graders are at 70% in reading, and I think it's like and 72% in math. It's like it's at a historical low. Why do you think
I,
that is? How do
I
we?
think that we need to turn off these devices. They're
Yes,
not reading. You're
yes,
listening to a video, you're listening to a podcast, you're letting other people put information in your head. You're not seeking the resources and information for yourself. And
yes.
even if you're a poor reader, the more you read, the better reader you'll become. If you're a
Hmm.
poor writer, my students may not like this, but I give every assignment as a writing assignment.
I think that's
I don't
excellent.
do multiple choice. I don't do true
Hmm.
false. Everything is an essay, it's a paper, it's an interactive. And so that's important to me. Tara answered, she said at Head Start, what was the most difficult thing for me to navigate at Head Start was really when I started there, I was one of the few people that had a 4-year degree. It wasn't required then. So it was me navigating an environment where these teachers had great experience. They didn't have as much formal training and trying to make sure I didn't come off as a know it all where I was condescending because I had a degree. And many of them could have taught circles around me and they
Hmm.
didn't have a degree. So once I got a handle on that helped. I also think that parents are not engaged. We have parents who want to give their children things, but they don't want to give them their time. I had a mother who took me to the library every Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We checked out books. She read a story to us every night. I love books. I still love books now. I was surrounded with literacy in my environment. When children and nowadays people are surrounded by telephones and and links and
Yes.
those and these things have actually taken the place of human interaction, and that is why I say this respectfully. We have a community of people who are basically socially delayed.
Oh,
They can be in a
yes.
classroom, they can be in a room, and they won't talk to each other, but they'll text each other. And I
Yes.
find that disturbing because in the world, as I know it, you still have to be able to say, hello, my name is Delicia. You have to be, every situation is not going to have you off to yourself. You have to
Mm-hmm.
learn how to socially interface with other people.
Mhm.
Yes. And one of the things that because like I was telling you earlier today, I'm an English teacher as well. So, but I have adults. And one of the things that I always tell my adult students is that pay attention to the words of things, what things are called, and then research why they're called these things. Because we have a cell phone. A cell phone is meant to imprison you, keep desensitize you. It's named that for a reason. So words are very powerful. Pay attention to what things are called and the name of them and research it so that you can break the barrier. And it's so important. It's so important because these devices are insane now.
And Tina and Gerald, one of the things that happened recently, I had a conversation with a student, well, in class, and the student said, well, most teachers give you a template. And I said, well, that's great, but life does not give you a template.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to take the resources you've been given and figure things out. So when you talk about problem solving skills and just the cognitive ability to seek
Mm-hmm.
an answer, that's missing. And I feel as though if you can Google when is the party, if you can Google the outfit of the day, if you can Google how to put on your makeup in 10 minutes, if you can Google
Mm,
anything, you can Google a word that you don't know. You can figure out if you have context cues. But honestly, I say this, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink.
amen.
You can ask my students, I give them tons of resources in the class, but I cannot make them physically click on the link or read the articles. I hope that
Absolutely.
they are doing it, but I cannot make them. I can say that it's important. So I just think that we come to a place in our society where we don't want to read something if it's not a 30-second soundbite. We don't
Mm,
want to hear it. We don't want to read it. And
mm,
that I think is impacting us negatively.
absolutely.
Microwave, the microwave society.
Absolutely. Microwave mentality and
Well,
popcorn society.
So
do
what?
you see what Jalen wrote? There's a disconnect between virtual and reality.
Ooh, Jalen, you on point with that. Yes. So true.
So yeah, you mentioned Chat GPT earlier. So what is your thoughts on AI in general?
Well, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
So we need to find a way to use it responsibly. One of the things that I have found with me, I will always do my own work first. Then I might check Chat GPT to see if it's an angle that I may have missed. But if you start at Chat GTP, it will make you intellectually lazy.
Mhm.
You cannot exercise your intellectual muscles when somebody else is thinking for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are times I get work that I'm quite sure that Chat GTP did, but I'm a believer that I'm not going to chase you down to figure that out because I believe that your sins will find you. And I've never
Absolutely.
done that, but I always end up with information. And I want the students to understand you can't be on a job. I was talking to somebody today that said somebody on their job is about to get fired because their Chat GTP in every single response. And now it's gotten it's alerted the big bosses and they're saying, what are you doing? And
Mm-hmm.
so I just think that we have to believe if we're not where we want to be in terms of our writing skills. You
Mm-hmm.
can practice writing. There are online writing sites that can help you with that. If you're enrolled in school, you have an online and you have a face-to-face writing lab. If it's something that's important, you have to perfect your craft.
Absolutely.
We have to perfect our craft, and you perfect your craft by practicing it.
Right. Okay.
Mhm. Well,
Well,
well, well, we're going to have a part two, I think.
Well,
well,
I will be happy to come
yeah.
back. I will be happy to come back. Now, my students, I want you all to stay in until this is over. I don't want you to leave when I come off the screen. And a little bird told me that they can tell if you stay and go. So I want you all to have the highest level of integrity and respect this forum. And thank you all for having me. It has been my pleasure. Thank you, students, for supporting me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for
And
being.
anytime I can come back, let me know.
You
Absolutely,
do.
Okay.
yes.
You
Nice
do.
meeting you, Tina.
To you, my dear.
All right. Have a good evening.
Same to you.
I love this. Yeah, this is a important conversation. I think and needs to continue on. But let's go to a quick break, and then I guess we can get to
Well,
our next guest. Right?
yeah, and which will be part two in a way because he's an educator as well.
Ah, that's true. There you go.
Introducing a new YouTube series, Dorms on Top of the World. Everywhere that I go, I gotta let the world know it's just me and my phone. Hey. Dorm fam, about to make you move, bro. Turn it up. Got to let the world know. Everybody and my mama on the track, yo. Dylan Dorn, pass it to my twin, bro. Call me DJ, got him cracking up. Yeah, they can't catch me, I'm too far. What? Roll up like I knew we would. Lone try music, Dorm fam, all good. Used to be the only girl, now it's me and Vicky. We gon' hold it down. Can you feel me? How we do every day of the week. Me and my family rolling deep.
Now this is what I mean when I rhyme to survive with these vlogs and these skits and these beats. How we grind. You can catch us online. Won't you like and subscribe? Welcome to our world. It's the Dorms on Top, right?
Everywhere that I go, I gotta let the world know it's just me and my phone. Everywhere that I go, I gotta let the world know it's just me and my phone.
Love them. I absolutely love them.
Yeah.
And I can hear this song over and over and over, and it just sticks, you know? They have so
Yeah.
much joy and energy. We all need to be a kid at heart, always.
The twins had a birthday last Friday too. The twin boys
Oh,
in the video.
oh, wow. See, that's so cool. One day we have to figure out how to get them on. We really do.
I'm working it.
All right, good. All right. So next, our guest, we have Mr. Jarvis Meeks. Now, this gentleman, he's also in education, and he's also on the board of the Heritage Festival, the Black Heritage Festival that we have here in Florida every year. And I've known him for quite some time when I was in radio and, you know, all that fluff and doing the entertainment thing. So Mr. Jarvis Meeks is a very educational young, no, I'm gonna take that out. He's not young. Let's just bring Jarvis on.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, that mercy.
There you go already.
Hello, Mr. Meeks. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing great. How y'all doing?
Wonderful,
Good,
wonderful.
good.
So what did you think of our first interview?
She brought up a lot of good points and a lot of things that we're dealing with in education. I know I see it at a 6-8 level, but to know that she's seeing it at a collegiate level knows that we still got work we got to do.
So yeah, so tell everyone, you know, what level you're teaching education and what you teach and so forth.
So I teach middle school math, 6 through 8. I'm the instructional leader. So my core job is to make sure my teachers have the supplies that they need and also that they are teaching based to the Florida standards. So I work closely with my teachers and with the students, making sure that they are getting the right teaching by the state of Florida.
So speaking of the state of Florida, how do you implement that with, I mean, again, I can't ignore the whole technology aspect of it and these devices. Like, how do you impact that with everything else that you have going on?
With the technology, we have to embrace it. A lot of the materials and a lot of the resources that we have are digital. Our textbooks are digital. We have hardbacks and we have paperbacks, but we also have that digital. So we have to embrace it. Like some of the last guests and some of the comments that I'm seeing, they're talking about AI. I think we should embrace it. I use photo math on my phone, but I show my students how to be responsible and how to use it. So, like she said, AI isn't going anywhere. All of our materials are digital, so we have to embrace the technology and the AI that comes along with it.
So how do you think education is impacting us today?
The impact, going back, like we talked about COVID had a lot to do with our students and what they missed moving forward. So the impact of education today, we have to have a group of educated individuals that's teaching, like we talked about, being devoted and being caring for your students. You have to want to do it. It's a challenging job, but at the end, at the middle school level, we get to mold them getting ready for high school. I've taught college, I've taught high school, now I'm in the middle school. And I see teaching middle school, how we're able to shape them moving forward to high school, then moving forward to college. So I think that's one of the great things about teaching in middle school is that we get to catch them early. We can't save everybody, but we do get a chance to watch them to grow from 6th grade to 8th grade, and we get to pour into them to let them know that, you can do it. So that middle school age is crucial that we catch them in middle school.
So what are your thoughts? And I think I read this, this had to be probably a couple of months ago, but I read something where they were talking about teachers quitting or it not being enough teachers and bringing everything to a virtual level of education. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't recommend everything go virtual. It's just something about having that physical touch in the classroom with the student, being tangible with that student, being able to ask questions and get an instant reply. And yes, there is a teacher shortage, and the burnout is real. Like, teachers are burnt out, and we have a lot of requirements. We have a lot of job titles that we wear. We the mother, we the father, we the doctor, we the counselor. Like, we have a whole lot of things that we deal with in the classroom. And so being able to physically be in the classroom with the student, we can tell whether they're sick or whether they're having a good day, whether they're having a bad day. A lot of times we catch problems before the problem even happens because we're in the classroom with them and we can physically see them. And so I think there's a great advantage of having in-person class than everything going virtual.
Okay, makes sense. Go ahead, Gerald, you had something?
Well, Burl has a question. Says, are you saying that COVID has impacted education? Please explain.
Yes. That time off going virtual. When I was teaching online, sometimes students, they will log in, but they'll be asleep. They'll wake up to log in, but then they fall back asleep. And so you miss a whole thing of instruction. Or students will log in and they're home babysitting. So they got their little brothers, they got their sisters running around. It was a whole lot that they had to deal with. And trying to take 7 classes online, you logging off of, and really, some of them didn't have internet.
That's
and so
true.
when we go virtual, we got to think about the infrastructure. Do we have enough? Do we have internet? Do they have a computer? They may have a laptop, but they may not have internet, or they may have the internet but don't have a laptop. And now they're trying to sign in on their phone. They're trying to sign in on an iPad or whatever device they have. And so there are some barriers in COVID that really set our students behind. So we could tell, like we talked about the social and emotional aspect with your last guest. A lot of students didn't know how to, for that was out that year. Coming back, the social aspect had declined. And math is one of the tough subjects, but you have to have the basics before we can move on. So we had people coming from 5th grade to 6th grade that didn't have the 5th grade basics. And
Wow.
so they were behind. And do you same thing with
Mm.
seventh grade? You had the seventh graders then come in with the eighth grade knowledge, and so it was difficult to try to catch those students up. But it was something that we had to do, and it was up for that challenge with that.
Hmm. Tara had a oh, okay. I was gonna mention Tara's, but go ahead. We'll Celeste.
Do
Go
you
ahead. You're gonna
find,
read Celeste's question.
I was before you cut me off.
Oh, sorry.
Do you find in-person classes cause the student to be more alert versus virtual learning?
I think it depends on the student. We do have students that will do great on virtual. I've had students that did very well in class on virtual, so that was the way they learned. So last year I had a student that's the only way they want to do their work, so I loaded them up on the work, loaded their work up virtually while they was in class, and they would do their work. Some students need to see step by step. In math, most people say I hated math. Like last guest say, you know what, I went to
I hated
college,
math.
so
I still hate math.
so she took the course where she had to take the least amount of math classes. So math is one of those subjects where you have to. Some students need to see step by step. You can't skip a step. And if you skip a step, I'm gone. You done lost the whole class. So the in class, yes, students need it for mathematics. Some don't, but for the majority of us that need that tangible, hands-on, step-by-step process, I think in the classroom is the best for them.
And then Beryl has another question. How did your school navigate the learning deficits when they returned in person?
We had to meet them where they were.
Mhm.
We know we can't get a year's worth of growth or 2 years worth of growth in 1 year. And so we have, in Florida, we have the FAST test where we have students can gain in moving a bucket. That means if you're a level 1 student, level 2 or level 3, level 4, level 5. If we can move you from, in level 1, there are 3 buckets. You're a low level 1, a mid level 1, or a high level 1. And so if we can move you from a low level 1 to a high level 1 or a mid level 1, we've made gains. We've made some growth. And so we have to take it as a step-by-step approach. If you're in 5th grade, you come into 6th and you didn't get the correct instruction in 5th grade, coming to 6th grade, I can't expect to put you on the 7th grade level going forward. So I can try to get you to move a bucket or make some type of gains. And so each year we have to formulate a plan. Okay, this student is behind, how can we move them forward? And like the last guy said, sometimes we have to get the families involved. And that's one of the most difficult things is having the parents come along, investing in their students' future by getting them an outside tutor. I know that we miracle workers. I know we think teachers are miracle workers and we can do all things.
We are. We are.
Like we can walk on water, but sometimes, sometimes we need that outside help. Yeah, sometimes we need that outside help. Sometimes just getting those students that outside tutoring once or twice a week helps.
And bringing up Miss Muhammad, she mentioned a couple of things that definitely resonated with me. How do you feel about when she stated that teaching is a calling? Because we have to wear so many hats. This is why I have hats. I have hats for everything. But what is your opinion on that? How do you feel? Do you feel like you have to be called for this?
Absolutely. I call it a ministry. It's even a call. I call it a ministry because we do wear many hats. And one of my prayers is that, I look at it as, before I got into teaching, I was in architecture. And in architecture, we had different clients. Those clients had different needs. And if we didn't tend to those clients' needs to a specific design, then they have to bring it back to us. We have to rework it, and then we present it to them again. So I kind of see the corporate America part of it and the education, bridging those two together. I see my students as my clients, right? And so if I'm not doing my best at teaching, if I'm not doing my best at giving examples, or if I'm not giving my best in the classroom, then I'm doing a disservice to my clients. And so yes, there are students, but I look at them more as that client based. And once I understand it like that, and once they see that, I treat them as a client, and they tend more to care more about their work. So I can get more out of them once they understand the rules, the regulations, and why we're doing what we're doing. Then they're more apt to say, "Hey, I can do this," and try.
So, with all the many hats that teachers have to wear, what prevents you, or how do you stop yourself from burning out?
Um, I learned very early that you have to leave work at work.
Mm,
Our students deal with so much, and they have a lot of things that they will share with you once they get comfortable with you. And there was a time that I would take that home with me, wondering if they have a place to sleep, wondering
mm,
if they have food to eat, wondering uh, if they're going to go home and navigating through their neighborhood is, you know what I'm saying, with the gangs and stuff that they deal with. Um, and so I had to learn how to leave work at work and care about them, but not bringing that home, because there was a time I was bringing that home, and
mm-hmm,
it was affecting my health, and it was affecting my family, because
mm-hmm.
sometimes we get so caught up into what they have going on that we don't know how to break away from that.
Mm.
You had anything, Joe? Well,
Um, so let's ask this question, because you know, there was one point in time where people would always, or men would talk about having someone in the classroom that looked like us, you know. And
Right,
you're one of those people that are
right.
in the classroom. So how does that make you feel? Has it in any way impacted some of your students to have a black man in the teaching in the class?
Absolutely. My school is 66% African American.
Mm.
Um, and I think my school is a unicorn school. We have at least 12 black men on campus that are not in PE. So we have a black male in every core subject.
Okay.
And so our students get to see a black male in every capacity of education, in leadership, as far as the assistant principals, in the classroom, as far as math, English, reading, the
Mm.
sciences. We're a magnet school, so we have magnet teachers that are in health magnet. And so our students see a black male every day, and they get it from all angles. So you can't go in the 100 hallway and not see a black male. You're gonna see him there. So just having our presence on campus, sometimes I believe it helps keep some things from happening, and keep control of some things within the
and what was the
classroom.
name of the school again?
Sly Middle School. And you know, and some people say I'm at Sly, they be like, "Whoa, you work at Sly?" I'm like, "Yes, I work at Sly." Yes, I'm a proud educator at Sly. And we
But
made
that
some
is
great
important.
gains. Yes, last year we had some of the highest reading and math gains that the school has ever had. We're continuing in that work now. Of course, it's a lot of heavy lifting. It's a lot of hard work, but our teachers, our administrators, and the students, we have something good going on. You know, so we're trying to keep that going. So it's
That's
difficult.
good.
Yes, you know,
Hmm.
I know I get slack for being that Sly. People are like, ooh, Sly.
Okay.
So there's another question down there for you,
We have
Jarvis.
another question here. Is, do you pair students who learn better online with students who learn hands-on?
So we don't have a situation where we have virtual and online students in the same class. That normally happens during summer school, where our algebra students that prefer to come on campus, they can come on campus, and they'll be paired with the teacher that's teaching face to face, but they're not doing it at the same time.
Mm, okay. If there was one thing you can change or maybe implement tomorrow in the education system, what would that be?
I would implement more trades. We're pushing everybody to go to the collegiate route.
And explain that a little further.
I think we should have a program within high school, or K-8, or maybe introduce it in K-8 a little bit, but more so in high school, where we have programs where students can go into plumbing, construction, mechanical. We're pushing everybody to college, but everybody's not meant to go to that college route. If my AC go out today, I don't want to have to call somebody and they say, "Hey, I'll be there tomorrow." No, I need you here now. and are willing to pay. You know, so we have to get. So I think we need to come up with that model where we're not forcing every student to go to college, but we have a model where if a student chooses to go into a trade, that they also have that opportunity. And coming from a trade, you can do that right out of high school. Once you graduate high school, you can take the test to get your certificate and go into an apprenticeship. And from an apprenticeship, you can become an entrepreneur. From an entrepreneur, you can now start hiring people to do the same trade that you're doing. And so I think we need to change our model, our education model a little bit to introduce some of those trades where we can get some of our students, people that look like us, into those trades where they're making good money.
I like that. That would be a really great thing to implement. I like
But that was one thing that we did have in the past.
Yes, I was getting ready to say I went to a trade school. Yeah.
It went away, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. When I was in high school, we had shop, we had agriculture classes, and we had all those things. But now they're taking, you know, it's so much now to pass a test. Like everything is supposed to focus on school grade and who has the best school grade, who has the smartest students, like, and so we're on this trajectory where we're pushing all these students to go to college. But when they get to high school and they figure out, hey, I might want to do something else, now they take a gap year. If you take a gap year from high school to college, you know, it takes a while for us to get back into that educational swing of it. But if they can have a trade and they can come straight out of high school, get certified, then start their career, I think we could, that'll be a lot, and it will help our community as well.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of students that are listening and watching. What advice would you give them?
I would tell you to stick with it. I know at the end of it, we say, I don't want a lot of loans to go to college. I don't think I'm right for it. Lord Jesus, right?
Help me,
I said that too, Tim. You about to get me off. I'm about to take another story.
I need Jesus to write a check today.
Right.
To university.
Sell those cows on the hill like you did for the man. Like, sell those cows. But stick with it. I know it's rewarding. Some of my best years were in college. I met my group of friends that I'm with now, my best friends. I met those guys in college. Take education serious. I know we don't have any. I don't know if we have any young listeners that's like in K-8 or K-12. But for parents, if your child tell you they don't have homework, they lying. They're gonna tell you every time.
Right.
They tell you they don't have homework, they are telling you a lie. So I would tell you to check their book bags, reach out to the schools, talk to the teachers. One thing that we have a hard time with is getting parents out to teacher conference night. They'll show up for the flag football game, they'll show up for the basketball game, but when it comes down to just coming out and having a conversation with the teachers and finding out ways that they can, their student can increase their grade, or if they've turned in homework, or what are their behaviors like in class, we rarely get that opportunity to talk to those parents face to face. If we are talking to them, we probably calling home with some bad news or something bad. So I try hard. If I call home because your child did something bad, I'm going to try to call home if your child does something good. Because I don't want our interaction every time we talk is that your child is in trouble. But I also want them to know, hey, they did something good today. Take them out for some ice cream or celebrate them in some type of way. So that's just the advice I would give some of those parents.
All right, wonderful.
If you ask them if they don't have homework and they say they don't have homework, I think you should give them some homework of your own.
That too. Check Canvas. If they hear check their Canvas account. Canvas. Ask for their login, ask for their password and login and number. Check those Canvas accounts.
They may not want the parents' homework. They may rather do the teachers' homework.
That's true.
Yeah, check those Canvas accounts.
Yeah. Well, Jarvis, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us and have this conversation with us. We may have you on again because this is something that I kind of want us to kind of keep having this conversation because it's important because the world is changing and education is changing right along with it.
Yeah. And just one thing, just be aware. I don't know if you know of the new Florida law that they passed or trying to pass, since they've deported a lot of the illegal immigrants per se. They have a bill now that they're trying to say that children at the age of 14 can now work overnight. They've gotten rid of the workers, and so now that's only going to impact the low socioeconomic community, because those are the people that's going to say, "Hey, you can work at 14, and at 14 you can work, and you can work to 12 o'clock or overnight, but now you got to get up and go to work." And again, that's going to affect the education system, because now you're going to these students are not going to get the proper rest, or they may just try to drop out of school altogether because now they're
that was the first thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So pay attention to that bill, and so that's something that's coming up within Florida, within the Florida government, that they are allowing 14-year-olds to now work graveyard shifts. So that's another thing that in education that us as teachers, we're going to have to deal with that if it comes to fruition, and how it's going to impact our students.
All right.
Wow. Well, good job. Excellent job. You did.
Shout out to the other teachers that are out here that are watching. I know.
Yeah, I see. I have a couple of my coworkers on, Miss Herring and Mr. Davis. They are Miss Herring is our ELA instructional coach, and Mr. Davis is our science instructional coach. So I see them.
I used to love science, but I sucked at it. It didn't.
Yeah. Oh, my son is on here too. I see my son popping up. My son is on here too.
Burrow Brackett.
Yeah. So you did an excellent job. Excellent job. And definitely we're going to have you on again.
Let's run it back.
Yeah, because we need to have this conversation a little more often.
All right.
So,
yes, thank y'all for having me on.
And like you said, pay attention. Pay attention because it's free.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Mr.
Hey,
Meeks.
y'all coming out to the festival?
Are you inviting us there? We would love to come.
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's go. This Saturday, 26th and 27th.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Send me my tickets, my VVIP tickets.
Oh, Lord.
All right, yes, we will definitely come. I know, Gerald is in Maryland, so.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Meeks.
All right, bye.
That was absolutely good. So much information.
Yeah, we thank all the people who tuned in today. It was a great,
absolutely,
tons of information. Shout out to all the teachers, all the educators out there doing the job every day. Certainly not doing it for money. So educating the next generation of people. So.
Absolutely. So thank you everyone for joining us. Please come back and join us again. We do this every other Monday at 6:30 p.m. So please, we have great conversation. We have conscious rising conversations that I think will impact us all one way or the other. So please come back and join us. So thank you, everyone. It's so many of you all. And I don't think I want to go down this list again. Because it's a lot.
We appreciate you.
But we definitely appreciate you. All right. Well, that is our show, and we will catch you on the other end.
All righty.
All right. Night.